Well, thank you so much for staying with us. Well, that was, quite a conversation we had. And of course, Malkwe is going to be taking on Honorable Bega Isiaka shortly. But, the conversation around politics of Kano State is one thing. The fact that Kano is in the northern, region, the part of Nigeria where we've been having all kinds of security occurrences and other thing altogether. One should just expect that maybe at some point, politics can actually make some sense. But now that we are moving from Kano to Ogun State to talk about this, the president was in Ogun State recently, and the conversations around the governorship, the next governor of Ogun State, Malkwe, it's quite hot now, isn't it?
That is hot, as well as the conversation around Nigeria's budget for security. There are questions as to what exactly is happening in the area of security. Well, this morning we're joined by Honorable Boyega Nasir Isiaka. He's a member of the House of Representatives. He's also representing Yewa North Imekoafon Federal Constituency. He's also the Chairman, House Committee on National Planning and Economic Development. Well, Honorable, it is it's rather somber day for Nigeria, especially as we mourn the gallantry, we celebrate the gallantry, but we also mourn the passing, the killing of a general and about 17 other soldiers in Borno in an attack that happened yesterday. There have been huge questions as to what precisely is happening on the war front, how it is that are we making progress? Are we really making progress? Because one minute we know the war front is silent, the next minute we hear of this, attacks, and it seems continuous. Just before the president went to London, we saw how there was an attack in Borno. It was suicide bombing. A number of people lost their lives in that attack. We've seen that in Kwara, some soldiers lost their lives while repelling an attack, and we've just seen this. And then yesterday, we saw a general. We know what it is like. It's not like I say the soldiers are not important. Of course they are. But we also do know that when they take out the head, it is a very strategic move by the terrorists. For you, who is in the House of Representatives, listening to news like this and also heading the Committee on Economic Planning, I'm sure you must have critical questions in your mind.
Well, thank you very much, and also the viewers at home. First, let me offer my condolences to the families of all those that lost their lives, quite a while now, particularly this last one. And I join the president in saying that, they are heroes of our development. I mean, yes, we do not want to continue to mourn our heroes, because we will have loved that, they serve the country, protect us, and then leave at the right time to go and meet their families. But this is happening. I offer my condolences to their families and to Mr. President and to Nigerians generally. But definitely, I'm sure that all the tiers of government will not want for this to happen. So for so many times, we have had cause to invite the security architecture to the National Assembly to have discussions on this. And particularly our colleagues from the North, they come with specific instances and examples of what was either happening then and or what has recently happened. And we continue to get assurances, from the security architecture, and then of course recommendations are made, and all of this goes into the policy of government. I think that we can only say that as we go on, I mean, definitely, are we making progress or not? I think we are, maybe slowly, maybe because again we also hear casualties and what happens on the other side. But once in a while they come and and wreak this havoc, and then they run away. One life lost in this nation, particularly to insurgency. Natural death, yes, we all cannot run away from that. But one life lost to insurgency and all of these attacks is even too much. But I think what I can say at this time, as I offer my condolences, is just to say that And we are making progress. We are making progress. We even have a situation where the former defense chief is now the Minister of Defense, now involved in policy making, and we expect that all of this put together should actually continue to give us the progress that we expect. And I believe that we are making that progress. The unfortunate thing is that when any of these things happen, it's become difficult for us to know what will have happened if they have not taken one step or the other. If government has not provided one thing or the other, it becomes difficult for us. Because like I said, even one person died is an issue. So I can only enjoin, while we do what we need to do at our own side, in that legislation, I can only enjoy our security architecture to get together, a bit more, so that I can get better results than we are getting. And I think that intelligence, gathering should also be able to, avoid even some of these things that come on. So maybe they need to do a lot more work in the area of intelligence gathering so that we can avoid some of these. So some of these things. It's really getting. It's really getting. I mean, we had what happened in Plateau the other time, just like 2 weeks or by a week or two ago, and then this one, the whole general. If a whole general is being brought down, I mean, imagine what an ordinary person whose lives government is supposed to be taking care of. I mean, we feel about.
They're really huge questions, Honorable. I don't know why I'm about to call you General, but they're questions to be asked as to, what clarity we're getting, what questions even the House of Representatives is asking. We do know, as you've said, that, military chiefs have been invited over and again, to come and help provide insight. Because clearly, I'm sure that as very much like us ordinary citizens, you also have deep questions to ask. Is it that we're not providing sufficient equipment? Is it that there is not enough coordination? Is it that intelligence is not flowing as it ought to? And I'm sure that some of these, responses would have been given you. But because the truth of the matter is, no serious planning can happen when a country doesn't feel safe. All plans oftentimes will either be overturned. I mean, look at what is happening globally, for instance, with U.S. and Israel on one hand and Iran on the other, and how that is, toppling all the plans that the global economy would have made. And I'm sure, as somebody who is directly involved in economic planning here in Nigeria, what would you say are some of the challenges that a developing country like ours has had to contend with in the process of, trying to make economic plans? We have this 3-year, economic plans, and then we now have a yearly budget, which right now, a lot of people are not even clear which budget are we implementing. Is it the 2026 budget? Are we still in 2025? Because of, the kinds of things we hear about the poor releases that were given for capital budget expenditure. So do you want to speak to us about some of the let's say the roadblocks that you have noticed as a member of this particular committee and the headwinds we're currently facing?
Well, thank you very much. But just before I go into that, which I will do just 1 or 2 minutes, is to also say, and I think your colleague mentioned it while I was watching the other program, about the timing of some of these attacks, particularly a year to election. I think it's also one of the issues that maybe our security outfits have also mentioned, which we should also look to, because again we should also begin to look at what is the rationale, because some of these things happening just a year to election. So there might be some remote or unforeseen reasons why some of these things are happening around this time, and I think he put it very well. I just remember that. But on the economic, on the planning, definitely it has a lot of issues. Nigeria has gone through a lot of planning process, even even before independence. There was the first one, I think 1954 to 1960, thereabout. And then first, second, third, between 1960 and to 1975, there was the first development plan, second, third, and fourth, before we move into the era of the rolling plans of SAP, and then of NEEDS, and then of the Vision 2020, and then of the economic growth and recovery plan of so we've gone through a lot of these. But I think one that happened that is very important is the prospective plan that happened of about 30-year plan of 1921 to I'm sorry, 2021 there about to 2030. So which is like a much longer plan, because one of the things that have happened more often than not is why some of these plans have not come to fruition is number one, some of the plans, some of the projections are quite too optimistic. For instance,
they're too optimistic.
Yes, some of the projections. For instance, the year 2020, for example, projected that we are going to be growing at about 15%, and that we're going to have about $900 billion in GDP. That was the year 2020. Right now, we're on about $300 billion. Of course, as a result of the exchange rate and all of that. So we have that. Then, no matter how good the plans are, it also has to be, institutions have to deliver it. The strength of the institutions is also some of the things. Then there are also a lot of external factors that we don't have direct control over. You just mentioned one, the U.S.-Israel-Iran war, and the implication of what we are doing. We also have that. And various factors like that. And again, we have 3 tiers of government, all of us working together towards a plan. It's also something. Then changes in government and the impact in the plans. And that is why I'm saying that one major one now that has a lot of impact on is that we have a 30-year plan, that is 21 to I think to 2050. We just had the first one expiring in 2025. That is the 21 to 2025, and another one is now being put together. What we are saying as a committee is that as we are going to put this together, which of course is still taking its root from the general perspective plan, which is 21 to 30, is that all stakeholders will come together so that everybody should have impact on it. Plan is not delivered only by government. The private sector has quite a lot of role to play in delivering it. For instance, in the area of revenue, we expect government revenue, and particularly in capital investment. We also expect a lot of foreign direct investment and private investment to go into it.
Have you been pleased with how your party, though, and your government of your party has been coordinated in terms of how they've implemented any plan? It doesn't look like they have been following any plan. It looks like they have been doing things in a rather ad hoc manner.
No, I don't think so. The one I mentioned now, the first time of a 50-year plan, which is meant to be that, look, this is where we're going. Every government that comes, look at within your own 4 or 5 years, do your plan towards a particular plan.
What within that plan would you say this government has followed?
Within that plan?
Yes.
One of the things that the plan requires is a stable macro and fiscal, regime. This government has given us a very stable macro, macroeconomic reforms and regime. One of it is required is that we should have an increase, a similar increase in our revenue. This government has done a lot in the area of tax and putting tax together, our tax regime together, so that we can have an increase in our, in our revenue. One of the things require is that we should take development to the grassroots. The Renew Hope agenda, the development plan that's been put together now, which is going to be one of the things we're going to discuss at the program we have next week, is also looking at projects in each ward, in each of the 8,000 plus wards that we have in the country.
Do we have a way of measuring how this plan works out, even when we try to implement some of the things within it? Do we have a way of measuring the quality of lives of our citizens?
We do. The plan has all of that. The important thing is for all of us to be interested in it. A document is prepared. We expect that it's for all of us. There's no way we are going to do a plan that will not have key performance indices.
Okay.
So those key performance indices are not the things that we're going to be using to for instance, the one they did, the NDP of 2021-23, even has a certain amount of megawatts of power. I think about 7,000. Of course, we have not reached it. We have not gotten there, but we have all of those. We have all of those. There's a level of inflation rate that is expected. I think they were looking at about 15%. Thereabout. So all of those things are there, and what we are trying to say is that either I call it budget, annual budget, or whatever we call it, they are not just documents on their own. They should be documents that takes us to a particular, location, a particular target. And what we are trying to say, and what we are trying to do, and what we are trying to encourage is for this document, all of us to be involved in it, and then all of us should monitor it so that we can all monitor and see how far we are going.
Well, we'll see how that eventually goes. Well, we do know that the House of Representatives, as well as the entirety of the National Assembly, has, they have the distinct function of oversight to make sure that the budget goes where it goes. Because clearly, we all cannot monitor. We can only give reports based on what is in the budget, whether it is actually happening in our locality. And I'm not sure that there is a mechanism to collate all of that just yet, that report from citizens. But we'll see how that goes and how your call for everyone's involvement is heeded. We have to thank you for coming on the program this morning. Honorable Boyega Nasir Isiaka is a member of the House of Representatives representing Yewa North, Imekwafon Federal Constituency, and is also the Chairman House Committee on National Planning and Economic Development. I'm sure we'll be engaging you on Ogun State much later. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, I guess we're going straight to Lagos, where from there, they are going to the Niger Delta. Ayo, it's over to you.